Hey everyone, welcome to the pleasure of writing. Today we have what I think is a special treat. We have a new pen from David Oscarson. He just sent this over and we're going to take a look at it. This is the Tesla. It's his newest pen. David has a huge catalog of pens, obviously, but this one is just magnificent, as they all are. This one specifically, however, just kind of caught our eye, and we're lucky enough to have it with us here today, so we thought we'd go over it real quick. We had David in the shop out in front here in beautiful Carmel by the Sea recently, and listening to him go over what goes into making these pens, and specifically the different aspects of each pen that he goes into. There's so much thought and so much careful consideration about every aspect of the pen, so it really is worth kind of diving into. I'm going to try to hit everything that I think he describes about this pen and the different features of it, everything they tried to include in this. Obviously, this is kind of a tribute, an homage to Nikola Tesla. If he wasn't already one of the, I mean, he's been known as the man who gave birth to the 20th century. If he wasn't already a household name, definitely in recent years he has become so. You know who Nikola Tesla is. You definitely do. And this is a great tribute to him. We're going to start with the barrel, which is, of course, adorned with the signature of Nikola Tesla right there across the center. David will talk a lot about the process of making these pens. Our director of marketing here says how, if you know about Fabergé eggs, these are Fabergé pens. There's this method of etching these silver bases, and then you get to melt down silica, and there's a whole process of grinding by hand in a mortar and pestle silica and water until you get this, and metal alloys to get different colors, until you get a fine paste, taking that paste, firing it in a kiln at over 1,000 degrees, melting it onto the silver base that's been diamond etched, and that creates these Fabergé, and I mean, we keep saying Fabergé, but really it's Oscarson finishes that we're talking about. And just when I twirl this, you can kind of see the really fine characteristics of the guilloche kind of finish that's being accomplished there. If I just do that, you can kind of see the gradient that's being created. It's beautiful. And even as I touch this pen, I have to keep kind of going over it again with this David Oscarson branded cleaning cloth that he includes with his pens. Not to go on and on about it, but I mean, listening to David talk about it, the passion and the artistry that goes into it, there's a 5-year apprenticeship that goes into being able to do this, and it's incredible. You look at it in person and there's nothing quite like the finish that you get. I know that for this specific pen, he mentioned that rather than a specific color of silica that they're going for, this glass that's going over the top, they actually mixed kind of a more dense version of the color that they're going for with slightly less dense version of it, so you get kind of a fade. It's not just one color throughout. It changes and it moves in the light. And again, like he says, the diamond etching of the silver underneath it, obviously here this is gold vermeil finish, but there are silver versions as well. The diamond etching of the finish underneath creates kind of a finish that can't be accomplished with mere casting or dye stamping, things like that. You get kind of that hard edge that when you move it in the light underneath the silica, underneath the glass, it dances and it creates these incredible patterns. It's a arresting pen to look at. Getting back to the features of the Tesla specifically, however, not that I needed to jump into a whole treatise on what David Oscarson gets up to. Tesla did a lot in his life, and this pen does a lot in order to kind of draw attention to it and pay honor to it. On the barrel, going back to it, in addition to the signature, we have the symbol down here, which is for the rotating magnet, I believe. And then up here, closer to the grip, is the symbol for alternating current as opposed to direct current. Nikola Tesla was famously instrumental in bringing alternating current into the forefront of our modern age. On the grip itself, and I hope that this comes through, there'll be a few things here that are a little bit more subtle than others. Obviously, Oscarson pens are they kind of explode out of themselves, so they're beautiful and their incredible features are easily seen. But he hides a lot of stuff in there too, which is kind of fun to look at. So on the grip are drawings, patent drawings, I believe, for the induction engine and for the rotating AC generator that he used in order to create the alternating current power source that then went on to start his business with other investors and kind of started him down the road of being the name that we all know and love today. The nib, of course, if I can just go over this real quick, all David Oscarson nibs are beautiful, 18 karat gold, lovely. I believe engineered in Germany, really nice. I'll leave that there for the moment and go over to the cap, which is, again, something truly special. As you can see, there is this is what we're talking about when we say that there's a mastery that goes behind the silicon, behind the glass. If you see how this has been applied and how this kind of radiates out from the Tesla Tower clip, you really get an idea about how difficult this must be, how much artistry has to go into creating this kind of an effect. It's not enough to just slap one precious material on top of another one and call it a day. There's a lot of thought and a lot of careful technique that goes into making this. As I rotated it, you might have noticed on the top here is the unit of measurement for magnetic induction or magnetic flux density. And that is, of course, 1 Weber per meter squared. I don't know what that means. I doubt that there are many people who know exactly what that means who are listening to this, but if it's going to be on your pen, you might as well know that so you can tell when people ask you about it. As great as that is, there are 2 more features on this cap that I really want to point out to you. One, which is pretty interesting, and it's a little bit, it's more subtle. This is a low relief etching. And I believe that David Oscarson says that his pens go through 4 or 5 layers of etching. So there's a lot of depth to these pens. Down here at the base of the cap on the back is an x-ray of Nikola Tesla's hand that he took when he was initially kind of almost discovering what x-rays were. And it's just barely there. It's the bones of his hand. That's fascinating to see. And then up here, and it would be, if you wore this in your pocket, it would be against your breast, as David says, is a little white pigeon. And Nikola Tesla famously loved pigeons. He fed thousands of them throughout his life. He would attract them to his hotel rooms and feed them through the window. And specifically, he fell in love with this one white pigeon that would come around. He talks about it. There are cataloged times where Nikola Tesla made specific references to this white pigeon with gray-tipped wings that he loved. He loved this pigeon. So David has included it on the pen that'll sit right there next to your heart as the pen sits in your pocket. As I say, kind of an incredible piece of art to be able to hold and to be able to share with you. I'm glad that you were able to come and watch this with us. I'm glad that we were able to show this to you. It really is truly an incredible object, and we couldn't be prouder to have it here in the shop. We're very happy that we get to send this out to the lucky person who bought it, and hopefully we'll get to see a lot more as the days continue. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.